Good morning, church. Let me read to you from Mark chapter 1, verses 16 through 20. Passing alongside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and Andrew, the brother of Simon, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishermen. And Jesus said to them, "Follow me, and you will become fishers of men." And immediately they left their nets and followed him. And going on a little farther, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John his brother, who were in their boat mending the nets. And immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants and followed him. Chuck Swindoll calls Mark the working man's gospel. This is because it's efficient, pithy, and to the point. Mark doesn't waste any time jumping to the main ideas. The book starts with John the Baptist preparing the way for Jesus. Jesus is then baptized. He then begins to preach, and after this, he begins calling men to himself. In this passage, Jesus calls 4 fishermen, Peter and his brother Andrew, and then the sons of Zebedee, James and John. I think it's important to keep in mind, just as a side note, that the fishing industry in Galilee was pretty lucrative. These are not financially desperate young men with nothing to lose. Rather, these are men that risk losing everything if they leave this business and follow this new rabbi. Now, prior to being called, these men may have been familiar with John the Baptist. Maybe they had even heard Jesus preach. But regardless, there was something about Jesus that caused them to abandon ship, pun intended, to follow Jesus and become fishers of men. When we were called by Jesus and became one of his followers, we were also called to become fishers of men. Now, William MacDonald, who has a commentary that I very much enjoy, he draws a parallel between being a skilled fisherman, as these 4 men were, and being a skilled soul winner. The first one he lists is patience. So patience is required when you fish. Sometimes you have to sit and wait for the fish to bite. Same way with the gospel. Sometimes you have to wait for a person to respond to the gospel. Next is skill. To catch a fish, you have to know what to cast, how to cast it, how to set the hook, how to reel it in, and how to land it. Likewise, evangelism takes skill. You need to know the gospel first of all. You need to be able to give some sort of defense of the gospel, and you need to be able to present it. Third is discernment. A fisherman can have all sorts of skills, but if he doesn't know how to apply them in the right circumstance, a catch is going to be far less likely. That kind of discernment is needed when we share the good news of Jesus with others. A personal testimony, which is a wonderful thing, and it's something that each of you should work on. It may be very effective with someone who trusts you. It may be effective with someone who doesn't trust you. But there might be a case where you need a rational argument if you want to share the gospel with somebody. For example, if you met a university physics professor and they're very much opposed to Christianity, you might want to be armed with some sort of arguments to show that Christianity is reasonable. Next is persistence. Bert and Ernie of Sesame Street fame, there was a skit that they would do, and they would be in a boat and they would yell out, "Here, fishy, fishy, fishy," and the fish would just leap into the boat. But for the rest of us, when we go fishing, we have to try again and again. We have to continually cast out, the lure in order to catch the fish. Same is true when it comes to being fishers of men. We have to be persistent. We have to do it over and over and over again, and then God will honor that. Now, I like to fish. In fact, some of my favorite childhood memories involve me fishing with my dad. But I'm not about to enter a professional bass fishing tournament. That being said, if I want to be a better fisherman, then I still need to draw on the wisdom and experience of more skilled fishermen. In a similar way, when it comes to evangelism, we should look around and see those around us that have wisdom and experience with soul winning and learn from them. I want to encourage you to think about how to better hone yourself to share the gospel. Think about being patient. Think about being skillful. Think about discernment. And think about persistence. I'll be praying for you. Keep praying for me. I'll see you next week.